Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Dynamics 365 Tech Talk. Today's topic is AX2012 Data Upgrade in Self-Service Environment. My name is Erin, and I'll be your moderator today. We are broadcasting this session through Teams live events, and the audio can be heard through your device speakers. This session is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. When you join this event, your name, email address, and/or phone number may be viewable by other session participants in the attendee list. By joining, you are agreeing to this experience. The recording will be available on the Tech Talks Community Dynamics page within 5 business days. If you have questions for the presenters or need support, please use the Q&A panel located on the right side of your screen. Our presenters will be responding to your questions during the presentation. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. Kicking us off today from Microsoft, we have Harsh Burla, Senior R&D Solution Architect. Harsh, over to you.
Thank you, Erin. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining in. As Erin mentioned, we are talking about AX2012 data upgrade in self-service environment. This is the latest investment that we have done for our AX2012 customers who are looking to move their database into Dynamics 365, right? We have Dilip, Ed, Veera, Suresh, Thomas joining in from engineering and support organization who are instrumental in developing the content and developing the toolkit. Without further delay, let's go ahead and talk about agenda. What we are going to cover today is AX2012 data upgrade tooling journey, looking at what was various toolkit that we had from AX2012 data upgrade perspective. Talk about our latest investment using SQL Transaction Replication. Talk about AX2012 database upgrade toolkit for Dynamics 365 that actually works in self-service environment. And we have a pre-recorded demo to show you how this toolkit works, right, from a data upgrade perspective. And then talk about go live process. What should be the typical go live process from a data upgrade perspective for AX2012 customers, and talk about some of the roadmap and feature investment. What we won't be covering today in detail is some of the prerequisites that is required from data upgrade perspective. There is no change from data upgrade prerequisite perspective, so these remains the same. However, we will cover it from an overview perspective. So without further delay, let's talk about a tooling journey, right? So we had, to begin with, right, from data upgrade tooling perspective, we had backpack process that supported AX2012 data upgrade in Microsoft Managed Infrastructure, or IaaS infrastructure that we call it, where customers had full control of their environment or VMs. Customers used to export backpack file from source, move this to cloud, import it back on Azure SQL in Sandbox environment, and then start the data upgrade process in Sandbox, wherein customers used to go to LCS and apply the AX2012 data upgrade. Backpack has been working pretty well, but there were a few challenges with backpack process. One of the key challenge was it had longer cutover downtime window, because you have to take the import, export, and move the backpack file to the cloud. That used to take time, didn't work for customers who have large database size. And it requires full control on the VMs and SQL, etc. Right? So backpack process is no longer supported. Now, as we moved customers' database to Elastic Pool, where the latest innovation and investments are happening, it was not possible to provide full control of VMs and Azure SQL. Therefore, the backpack process came into play that actually facilitated data movement in Elastic Pool Azure SQL database without needing RDP access and of the VMs and SQL admin credentials, right? So that process, it has been there for quite some time. There were few challenges again with the TACPAC process as it was one-time data movement. So it didn't actually solve the long cutover downtime window problem, right? It had some of the latency and connectivity issues during data movement for large customers or large side of database. So basically, this toolkit actually didn't work for large customers, right? And it didn't solve the problem of longer cutover downtime, right? This toolkit was named as Database Movement Toolkit, and it's deprecated now. We don't recommend customers using the backpack process for data upgrade. And then we actually invested in replication process. This actually leverages SQL Transaction Replication, which actually enhanced our cutover downtime window problem immensely, right? So, this toolkit is called Online Database Migration Toolkit, which is currently G8 and available in LCS for you to download and use it. This toolkit actually works on IaaS infrastructure or Microsoft managed environment, and it actually solves our problem of enhanced cutover. And I'll talk about it when we go into go live process and talk about SQL transaction replication capabilities as to how it is helping us to provide enhanced cutover experience. Now, this actually, our North Star goal is to move our customers to self-service environments because that's where the latest innovation and investments are happening. And we want our customers to move to self-service environment. Therefore, we have recently launched this toolkit called AX2012 Database Upgrade Toolkit for Dynamics 365. This again leverages SQL transaction replication capability. It actually enables doing AX2012 data upgrade in self-service environment, and it provides seamless LCS experience. So it's a single app wherein you will notice that you can actually perform entire data upgrade, including database movement, using with single console app, right? So this toolkit is in public preview, and we target to uh, move this to GA or general availability pretty soon by end of this month. So, some of the key takeaways are basically, we recommend customers to use AX2012 Database Upgrade Toolkit moving forward that runs on self-service environment. So I'll move forward and talk about some of the SQL transaction replication capabilities, right? SQL transaction replication is not a new concept. It has been there for a long time. So, but for the interest of this workshop or this discussion, it's important that we understand some of the key aspect of SQL transaction replication. If you have already worked on SQL transaction replication, then you are already aware of these concepts. So we are leveraging the same capability to actually move the data from source to target, right? So in essence, SQL transaction replication helps to copy and distribute data and database objects from one database to another, and then synchronizing between database to maintain the consistency, right? SQL transaction replication, it's an automated periodic distribution of changes of data between the database, right? So uh, uh, some of the key concepts are publisher. In this case, my publisher is my AX2012 database that makes the data available to other location through replication, right? Um, then it has a distributed database, which is a database instance that acts as a store for replication specific data associated with one or more public publishers, right? So distributed database, once you set up SQL transaction replication using this toolkit, a new database distribution database gets created in source database server, which is in AX2012 database server. So this database stores metadata, history data, and transactions, right, for distribution purpose to from source to target. Then we have subscriber. Subscriber in this case, a database instance that receives the replicated data. In this case, it's nothing but your sandbox finance and operations database, right? So that's my target. So we have publisher, distributor, subscriber. Then we have two executables that are important to understand and monitor. One is replication log reader agent. It's an executable that monitors the transaction log of each database configured for transaction replication and copies the transactions marked for replication from transaction log into distribution database. Therefore, you would see log reader agent reading from AX2012 DB or my source or publisher and writing to distributor database, right? Then we have distribution agent. It's an executable that moves the snapshot and transactions from distribution database tables to destination, or basically to destination table to add the subscriber, right? So therefore, it's actually reading from my distribution database and writing it to subscriber, right? Now there is one key concept of a snapshot. So once you set up your SQL transaction replication for the very first time, it generates the snapshot of your current AX2012 database and then moves this snapshot to the subscriber. This is a one-time process that may take time based on the size of your database. But once the initial snapshot is generated and delivered, then agents keep pushing the incremental transaction, right, on a regular basis to the subscriber in near real time, right, which doesn't take which is not a time consuming activity, I would say, right? So snapshot is important. Generation of a snapshot and delivering the snapshot to the subscriber, it's an important step, and based on your database size, may take time, right? So what we are doing with this toolkit, so typically if you have worked with SQL transaction replication process, you could set up publisher, distributor, etc. You have ability and tools to actually set up these all these components, right? With this toolkit, we are actually automating all these processes to set up distributor database linking, publisher, subscriber, etc. So these SQL transaction replication setup is automated with the new toolkit that we have released, right? What are the benefits of leveraging SQL transaction replication and the toolkit, right? So firstly, we are leveraging SQL transaction replication capabilities, right, which actually helps us minimize overall data upgrade cutover timeline immensely. The reason being, once you set up the, think about a scenario where, you can set up SQL transaction replication, let's say 2 or 3 weeks ahead of your go live or your cutover window starts, right? And then your snapshot gets delivered at the time once you set up SQL transaction replication, and then all your transactions which are happening on AX2012 production instance gets delivered to subscriber or to my finance and operations sandbox database, right? So basically, your transactions keep moving on a regular basis for 2 or 3 weeks before you actually start the data upgrade process. And once you are ready to actually start the data upgrade, you can stop the replication. Therefore, you will stop your AX2012 AOSs as well, and then start the data upgrade. You don't have to actually move the data or import, export, backpack file, etc. right at the time during cutover, because your transactions or your data is already moved to sandbox. Now it's time for us to run the data upgrade, right? So with this toolkit, we are actually automating the setup and execution of various components of SQL transaction replication in terms of setting up distribution, linking the publication and subscriber, etc. We ensures to move all your AX2012 table schemas, data, and other required artifacts to Sandbox database. It includes your ISV, custom tables, etc. Right? And we ensures that your target Sandbox database is ready for data upgrade at the time of cutover, right? So, there are huge benefit in terms of minimizing the cutover downtime, right, for our AX2012 customers. Some of the prerequisite, as I mentioned, prerequisite have not changed as such. So in this presentation, you keep hearing about source and target. So source is basically nothing but in this case, AX2012 database. Target is Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. There are some of the prerequisite, from source perspective and target perspective. So because we require some of the KBs to be installed and executed for upgrade scenarios, we recommend cleaning up as much data as possible, right, from a log perspective and other cleanup routines that we have. Uh, you need to make sure the replication feature is installed and running. You have enough disk space in your SQL server for snapshot to be generated. So from a target perspective, you need to make sure your environment is self-service environment. You have LCS access, and you make sure you apply your custom package before you actually start the application, right? So I'll not go to details about KBs, etc., but these prerequisites remains pretty much the same, right, for AX2012 upgrade customers. Now, as I mentioned before, there are two toolkits. One is online database migration toolkit, which actually automates SQL transaction replication setup. You can actually download this from LCS. It works in Microsoft managed environment or IS infrastructure. This toolkit is currently available in GA. And then currently we have released AX2012 database upgrade toolkit for Dynamics 365. This toolkit actually provides a new data upgrade experience in self-service environment. You can download this toolkit from LCS. It's currently in public preview. So you can actually use this toolkit for your AX2012 data upgrade customers scenarios, right? It not only automates the SQL transaction replication, but it also provides a new AX2012 data upgrade experience, right? So this application console app basically handles the entire upgrade story. You no longer have to go to LCS and apply the package. And one of the key takeaways is basically we are recommending customers to use this new toolkit in self-service environment for data upgrade. Some of the salient features of this toolkit, basically it enables data upgrade in self-service environment, and that's where the latest innovation and investments are happening. It uses SQL Transaction Replication to move AX2012 data into Azure SQL in the cloud. It provides seamless LCS experience, right? So, you will notice in the demo that we have added some of the LCS statuses. So you can actually monitor what is happening from LCS perspective. Uh, and then it's a single AX2012 data upgrade toolkit. So it actually, helps to transfer or move your data from source to target, but also, customers can actually trigger data upgrade from this toolkit directly. And we have also, enhanced the data upgrade orchestrator. That's what we call DO. It's a managed orchestration solution, that we have developed as part of this toolkit. Just a quick glance of how this toolkit look like. So this toolkit is divided into three sections. One is execution steps. So you will notice there are steps from 1 to 12 that you need to execute for replication and data upgrade perspective. We will talk about all these steps in detail in the demo. There are reporting section. Report is basically you can validate, hey, whether my replication is successful by comparing the number of records in source and target. You can monitor the replication status and you can monitor the data upgrade status directly from this toolkit. And there is tooling section, which is basically, if you face any issue in replication configuration, you should be able to reset your environment, right, and clear the environment from setup activity perspective. So there are various tooling, capabilities are also added. What it takes from an input perspective, from source, it requires your source database details, and then from a target perspective, it actually authenticates against your LCS user and needs the environment ID, which sandbox. You may have multiple sandbox, so it asks you basically which sandbox you are going to use for data upgrade purpose. So this is a quick glance as to how the toolkit look like. And as I mentioned, right, one of the key feature is basically, you will experience the seamless LCS experience, right? So, you will notice that, there are new LCS statuses are added. So once you are ready for replication, the status of LCS changes to ready for replication. At this point in time, your finance and operations environment won't be accessible because data is getting pushed. It's kind of it's ready for replication. That means your FNO environment is down. You won't be able to log in and use the environment. And replication in progress, that means your data is moving from source to target, and once it's completed, it actually moves the or change the LCS status to replication completed. Therefore, you are ready to start the data upgrade, right? So make sure you apply your custom package solution before you actually start the replication, right? Because and once you start or the replication process, you won't be able to use the environment and deploy the code package. So with
Hello,
that, I
everyone.
have
My
a
name is
pre-recorded demo that I'll play. This actually provides a kind of experience as to how this toolkit works. Since it's kind of data upgrade experience, we can't do it live. So I have this pre-recorded session that will help you to understand how this toolkit works. I'm into my source environment, which is my AX2012 SQL Server box, where Microsoft Dynamics AX is my AX2012 database. Now, at the source, you should install AX2012 data upgrade toolkit for Dynamics 365. You need to navigate to shared asset library from LCS, navigate to model, and you should be able to download this toolkit. Once you download, this toolkit is basically a zip file that you can unzip. Once you unzip this toolkit, you will see an app, AX2012 Data Upgrade Toolkit. Once you run this toolkit, it actually asks you to sign in to your LCS project. If you're not able to, if you have executed this toolkit and this toolkit is not running, that means you may be missing .NET Core 3.0 or higher SDK, as we talked about. So I'm going to log into my LCS environment. Now it says, hey, authentication is complete. You can return to the application, and I should be able to close this environment. Now my user is authenticated. I have already deployed one sandbox environment in LCS, and if you notice, this environment is deployed in self-service infrastructure, right? Now it's asking me to provide my project ID. I can grab my project ID and provide this as input to this to this toolkit. And similarly, it is asking me to provide my environment ID. So I should provide I can grab my environment ID either from LCS page or the URL. So once this is set up, you will see, hey, this is how these are different, options of my toolkit. So the first section talks about, various steps from data upgrade perspective. So we should be starting right from step one, go through all the process till step number 12, right? You see the status, you can see the status of each step. Uh, Currently, I have not started anything, so you will observe it's not started. And then you will see there are certain reporting aspects, right, which is available in this toolkit as well, right? So DV stands for validation. You can actually validate the replication, how it actually compares the number of records in source and target. RS is for monitoring or getting the replication status, and DS for data upgrade status, right? And third section, it talks about, for example, if you want to reset the replication, right, that basically removes all your replication configuration. Reset all means it will reset all the options, and then you can actually kickstart the upgrade process again, right? So without further delay, I think let's get started. So, I should go through all the steps from right from replication and then move to data upgrade, right? So let's start with step one. Step one asks me to provide my source database details, right? This toolkit has now details about the target, but I should be providing, the information about the source, right? How? So first thing is it is asking me to provide the server name. So my AX2012 SQL Server name is AX2012 upgrade. My database name is Microsoft Dynamics AX, and I have an SA account currently set up, so I can use SA and give the password for it. It is going to validate the username and password, and once the validations are complete, now it is asking me to whitelist the IP, right? So it has to talk to my target database. So this IP is basically the IP of my source database, right? AX2012 database. So this IP will be whitelisted in my target database. So I'm going to provide this IP address. So this IP is my AX2012 SQL Server IP, which is going to, this toolkit will whitelist in my target. So I should be able to access my Spartan or my Dynamics 365 database from this box. So it until it's doing the whitelisting process, so we can quickly check, the replication setup, right? So this one of the prerequisite, if you notice, the replication feature must be installed in SQL Server box, right? So so my replication, that's how I can verify hey, replication is installed. There is no publication and subscription currently. And if you notice, my SQL Server agent is disabled, so I should be basically enabling it so that replication feature can use it. So you can notice, right, my SQL Server agent is now running, right? Now, it has whitelisted, it is saying, hey, firewall whitelisted is complete, target database connection has started and connection has been established. Now, it is asking me to set up a distribution database path, right? So there are, as I mentioned, it leverages SQL Transaction Replication. SQL Transaction Replication feature uh, actually uses distributed database uh, for replication purpose. So therefore, I should be setting up uh, a file path for my distributed database, right? So I can create a replication folder for upgrade and then provide a folder for distributor database, right? And I can copy this. And now I need one more folder where snapshot should be stored, right? And as I mentioned, right, you should have enough disk space in this snapshot folder. Typically, it should be equivalent to the disk space occupied by my database. So for example, if my database size is 400 GB, you should have around 400 GB available for this snapshot to be generated. Now, my step one is complete, right? You can use help at any point in time to actually see, hey, where am I in terms of data upgrade process? So I have completed step number one, so which is complete, right? Now I should start preparing my target environment for data upgrade, right? So currently, if I go to my target environment, it's deployed, I can log in, I can do all other activities. So as soon as I prepare my environment for upgrade, that means I should, you know, I won't be able to use this environment because, this environment is going to be used for data upgrade purposes, right? So this environment is now ready for data upgrade. I can refresh my screen and you should see, hey, this is ready for replication, right? You can directly see the status of this environment. Again, you can use help to see what is complete. So these two steps are complete. Now let's continue with step number three, which is about cleaning up target database. This process actually deletes and drops all the tables in target database, as well as removes table schema. Depends upon the size of data that you have upon in target database. It may take time. How you can verify it? Basically, you can grab JIT access of your target database, connect to your target database, and then verify. So you will notice that there is no table present right now. So this is step number three. Actually cleans up your target database. Step number four is about setting up distributor database. Replication process uses distributor database. So this steps create the distributor database. You can actually check distributor database in the source. Just refresh system database, and you should be able to see distribution database created by step number four. You can now use help to make sure all my four steps are complete. The next step is setting up publication for primary key tables. This step actually creates by default two publications, and the list of tables or articles are divided between these two publications, right? So this steps takes time to set up publications setup. Once the publication is set up, it actually starts creating the snapshot and distributing the snapshot to the subscriber. Now, this is important step wherein we need to monitor the replication progress using get replication status utility. Let the publication setup complete so that we can verify and monitor the replication. Right. So publication setup is complete now. Now it's important to understand, right? W- let's take a quick look at the help first. Now it talks about, hey, my step number 5 is complete. Once the publication is setup is complete, it doesn't mean that the snapshot has been generated and it's delivered to the subscriber or target database. Therefore, it's important now to monitor the replication. There are a couple of ways to monitor the publications. First, let's verify how you can navigate and see the publication setup. Go to your source database and replication, refresh it. You should be able to see there are two publications, they are set up now. You can use replication monitor to actually monitor the status of your application. So currently, the agents are working on both of these publications, basically, trying to create the schema and everything. And the snapshot as well. You will see the red marks here because, the steps are not complete. Let these steps complete to create the snapshot. So one way I talked about, use replication monitor. Another way is we have utility within this toolkit, get replication status. So you can simply type in RS. So you see, hey, snapshot generation is in progress, and data replication has not started because it has dependency on the snapshot. Similarly, for second publication, which is object 2, a snapshot is in progress and data replication has not started, right? Uh, Another point to notice is you will notice now on the LCS page, replication is in progress. So that therefore, you have visibility about from a LCS page perspective as to what's going on. You should not move directly to step number 6 until the replication process or publication process is complete in terms of snapshot generation and data replication. Right. Currently, if you notice, it has completed 87% of schema generation. It's still running. It has been around 15 minutes for these two, publications to generate the snapshot. Uh, so Still, progress remains the same, status remains the same. However, it's progressing and working against various tables on the source. You can actually also look at, your snapshot folder that we set up at the very first step, and look at, the file size. So it keeps growing as it creates the snapshot as well. All right. So now a snapshot has been generated. How you can monitor is from replication monitors. You can see for both of these publications, 100% snapshots are generated. There are around more than 7,000 articles or tables for which a snapshot has been generated. And now you can actually go and check each individual publications, click on all subscribers, and there are two tabs: publisher to subscriber, which is already complete. Sorry, publisher to distributors is already complete, and this is about distributor to subscriber, right? So it is working against various different schemas, etc. So it is moving, and you can see the performance is excellent, things like that, right? Based on the your network latency, etc. It will keep moving, right? Yeah, from publisher to distributor, and similarly distributor to subscriber, right? You can also monitor again the get replication status from RS utility. So if you notice, a snapshot for both the publications are complete. Now it is actually moving the data of generated snapshot to the target environment, right? Uh, so we should let it complete until unless the job status changes. We should not proceed to step number 6. Another thing you can monitor is basically, on the target environment, you can refresh your target environment, take a look at, you should see because now the snapshot has been generated, it's moving the schemas and data into target or subscriber. You should be able to see, hey, this is all the tables are getting created, the schemas are getting created in the target environment. You can actually also do, sp underscore who2 on your target database as well as on uh, on source as well. So if you notice, it's actually working. So if you notice, right? So there are uh, you know publications working against these databases to push the data uh, into target. There is some blocking, but it will auto resolve itself. So let's keep monitoring, make sure data replication completes, and then proceed to step number 6. All right, so let's take a look at the replication status now. So once a snapshot generation is successful, the data replication will move data to the subscriber. So you can see, hey, snapshot is completed, and even the data replication part is completed. And in the comment, you will say, hey, no replicated transactions are available at this point in time, right? So it is complete from a replication perspective. A snapshot has been delivered, and from this point in onwards, the connection between source and target is established, and it will continue to move your data. So in case of production environment, right? If there are transactions happening in AX2012 database, this will keep moving to your target database. You can quickly verify some few of the tables. For example, in my target environment, I can do quick count for, well, let's say, general account entry table. So there are 464,000 records available. Similarly, we can run this query against my source. So just to make sure, there are scripts available where you can get the number of records as well from source and target. Similarly, looking at the replication monitor, yeah, so you will see, hey, your snapshots are generated. Currently, it is trying to establish the connection. It will resume, it will recover in some time. So you will notice that sometimes there is connection issue, but it auto recovers automatically, right? Uh, so I just wanted to show you, even from replication monitor, you can see the status, right? Distributor to target. There are no replication transactions available. All the tables are moved. This is the same status that appears in the toolkit as well. So it will continue to push the transactions. And now we are ready to move to next step, which is step number 6. This actually creates another publication for other objects. So for example, there are functions, there are constraints available on the tables. So this actually move all these functions to target database, right? So it says, hey, the again, the publication is set up. We can now quickly again check replication status. We should see uh, right. So if you notice, right, there is one more publication for other objects has been created. A snapshot has been generated, and it is actually moving a snapshot to the subscriber, which is in progress. So believe it should be fast, but let's give it a couple of minutes to complete. Uh, okay, so again, the status check on replication, right? For other objects, now the replication is complete. You can again see the same status. And again, you need to refresh your application monitor, and then you can see the status, right? There are two tabs: publisher to distributor, which is kind of a snapshot generation and moving to distributor database, and then distributor to subscriber, where you are seeing there is no replicator transactions available right now. So we're good. And if you look at the status of the sandbox, replication is in progress. So replication is set up now. It will keep moving the data to from source to target until you come to a point where you're good for downtime. Now, let's say the replication is set up, everything is set up. Now you're ready for cutover activities. So there are certain cutover activities that should be executed at the time of downtime. At this time, my AX2012 AOS should be stopped when we are starting the cutover activities. And then from cutover perspective, there are three steps, 7, 8, 9. So 7 is about setup publication for non-primary key tables. So I'll start number 7. This is going to create another publication for non-primary key tables. There should not be, if you look at from AOT perspective, there won't be any non-primary key tables or pretty few. There could be some situation with where you have some ISVs or custom tables where these keys are not defined properly. However, it should be minimal. There could be some situation where configuration key in AX2012 is not set. It's not turned on. So those table behind the scene in database won't have primary key, right? But we need to make sure the schema and the data for these tables gets replicated also. Uh, so there should be very limited tables, and therefore you see, it's pretty fast in this environment. So again, you can this has created another publication, so you can actually go and check the replication monitor, and we should have one more publication created for non-PK tables, right? And then I should be able to verify the status for non-primary key table, right? So my snapshot has generated and replication is in progress. You're seeing, status is error, but there are connectivity issues in this VM, but it will, but replication is intelligent enough to actually resume the operation and get connected. So you see the snapshots are generated, and if I want to see the status, distributor to subscriber, there are 4 transactions which it is trying to move. So we'll wait for it to complete. All right, so the replication is also complete for non-PK table. Let's go ahead and check the status of all steps. So number 7 is complete. Now, number 8 is remove non-PK replication temp tables. So behind the scene, we create some of the temp tables for non-primary key tables. Therefore, this step is important. It actually removed the publication for these tables. We don't need to monitor because it doesn't create a new publication. This actually goes runs behind the scene, right? Uh, uh, The last step is basically to create constraint for non-PK table. So which is step number 9. I'll quickly go ahead and then run this. This is going to move the constraint for non-PK table, and which is also complete. So at this point in time, almost all my activities are complete. So number 10 is basically now, we are ready to remove replication setup. So whatever setup we have done, we should remove. So this is automated in step number 10. This is going to remove all the publications that we have set up. It is going to remove the distribution database as well, and remove all those components, and then there won't be any connectivity between source and target database. So replication has been removed now, and we can verify this. Uh, just if you refresh the replication folder, there won't be any publication. Even the distribution database has been deleted by this process. Next step is basically changing the LCS status and asking me to sign in. So this step is basically going to change the LCS status. Uh, Currently, LCS status shows as replication in progress, and with this, it says the replication is completed, and the status changes to replication completed. And take a look at the help. Now, the last step is to trigger the data upgrade. Previously on IS infrastructure, a data upgrade, to trigger the data upgrade, you need to go and select the AX2012 data upgrade package. But with this toolkit, you can successfully trigger the data upgrade directly from this toolkit. And if I refresh, you will see the data upgrade has been triggered, and then you will see a data upgrade is in progress. Uh, I forgot to mention about one thing, DV, which is a kind of report to validate the replication. This can be done after cutover activity. This actually gives us the comparison of number of records from source and target. This should be done before deleting removing the replication before step number 10. There are few logs as part of this toolkit. So if you go and take a look at the log, you should see the text file. It actually captures all the log information. If you need to troubleshoot what steps was completed, etc., you should refer to the log, which is part of this toolkit. Uh, Okay, once the data upgrade is triggered, you can use DS, which is get data upgrade status, which actually gives you, hey, what steps have been completed. So for example, previously the experience was using runbook, which talks about all the steps from pre-rec to pre-sync, DB sync, post-sync. So these steps are kind of you can actually look at it from DS, and it actually gives you all the timing. From LCS experience perspective, you will notice the environment updates or the progress bar. It won't actually tell you the pre-rec and all other steps, right? In case of any failure, right? Let's say if there is any failure, you should be able to download log from LCS, uh, and the data upgrade status will change from successful to resume. So, based on the error, you can actually fix the error. So currently executing smart for complete. I'm sorry, I was about to do help. So if I do help currently, you see it's successful because data upgrade is currently running, environment is in data upgrade or in servicing status. But in case if there are any failure, you should be able to download log, and the status of data upgrade step will change from successful to resume, so that you can actually trigger this again to resume the data upgrade in case of any failure. So that's how the experience is going to look like once the data upgrade is complete. The environment will be back from servicing or data upgrade processing to normal deployed state, and you should be able to log in and then resume all your activities. So now I wanted to show you the data upgrade status. You can see all the steps and sub-steps are completed. And my LCS environment is back to deployed state. I should be able to log in into FNO app. So that's how the experience is going to look like in self-service environment. I hope you find this demo useful. Thank you for your time. Right. So quickly touch base about go live process, how we can envision the go live with this new toolkit in self-service environment. So basically, starting from AX2012 environment, where you need to make sure you complete all the prerequisite in terms of installing KBs, make sure a custom code is deployed in the sandbox environment, right? Then use this toolkit to actually set up the replication. This can happen ahead of time, right? 2 or 3 weeks back in the production environment before you actually start your downtime or cutover activities, right? Then you set up replication, basically complete till step number 6, as we saw in the demo, and then you keep monitoring the replication on a regular basis, right? That makes sure, once the replication is set up, your transactions keep moving from AX2012 to D365 sandbox database. At the time of actual downtime or cutover, you stop AX2012 AOSs, execute cutover steps, right? Uh, Take a note of the point where your replication completed. So for example, if anything goes wrong, you want to take point in time restore of your target database where your replication was complete. You should be able to do that using LCS. Then you actually triggered the data upgrade, which actually upgrade your AX2012 schema to the 65 schema and run all the upgrade steps. And then you actually move your database to production, perform a smoke test, and complete additional application configurations, and you go live, right? That's the go live process going to look like with this toolkit. Wherein, if you notice, we are doing much of the work, right, to move the data to cloud well ahead of starting the downtime. Now, some of the roadmap item, what we plan to actually bring it currently, if you have AX2012 upgrade, if your LCS project is set up as AX2012 upgrade, we typically deploy your environment in Microsoft managed or IaaS infrastructure. Going forward, once we GA, you will notice that environment gets deployed into self-service environment, right? Uh, then we are also planning to bring, rollback capabilities to replicated status in case of any unrecoverable failure. So, for example, your data upgrade failed, you are not able to recover or resolve the issues. You want to bring the environment back to replicated state, so you don't have to actually start the replication all over, right? So this capability we plan to bring in future, and looking at continuous feedback and improvement from communities, customers, and partners. And uh, uh, and then we plan to bring similar data upgrade orchestrated support for dev test topology, right? So in dev environment or tier 1, you can actually have similar experience, right? So that's what we plan to cover. So few of the key takeaways is basically we encourage customers to use this toolkit, which is available in LCS, and follow these recommended practices instead of using backpack process to move your database from, let's say, tier 1 to sandbox environment. we don't encourage doing that. So typically customers should do data upgrade in sandbox environment using this toolkit. So with that said, there are some of the public docs that we have recently published for how to use this toolkit and FAQs, etc., so that you can refer these resources. That's what we wanted to cover today. Thank you for your time, and over to you, Erin, for closing remarks.
Excellent. Thank you, Harsh. That was great. I have posted a link. I'm actually going to post it again for all of you in the Q&A panel to a short survey. We would greatly appreciate your feedback on today's session and to hear what you'd like to see in future events. We thank you in advance for your participation and taking that for us. As a reminder, the recording for today's session will be available on the Tech Talks Community Dynamics page within 5 business days. I'd like to extend a big thank you to you, Harsh, and to our moderators, and of course to the audience for joining us today. We hope you have a wonderful day wherever you may be.